During her confirmation hearing last month, Ms. Kagan asserted that Harvard Law School was, quote, never out of compliance with the law. In fact, the Veterans Association did a fabulous job of letting all our students know that the military recruiters were going to be at Harvard. She went on to state, the military at all times during my deanship had full and good access. Absolutely false statement. The facts show that these statements are false. Recruitment for our nation's military suffered due to her actions. I know that Senator from Alabama who was present at these hearings, and Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to engage in a short colloquy with the senator from Alabama.
Without objection.
And yet, Ms. Kagan stated that she, quote, I understand her words were reveres the military. Is that correct, I'd ask?
She did use that word, Senator McCain.
And yet, is it a bit incongruous that, and a bit contradictory, that you would want to treat the military as, quote, separate but equal, condemning them as the Air Force Judge Advocate General military person said that they were condemned to wandering the halls at Harvard Law School and hopes that someone will stop and talk to them? Does that, I wonder, is that in keeping with someone, the actions of someone who claims that they revere the military?
I certainly don't believe it is. And as you've noted repeatedly, as we've served on the Armed Services Committee together, that this was not a military policy. This was a congressional law passed by this Congress and signed by President Clinton, with whom she worked for 5 years, but she was punishing these young officers, many of them, demeaning them, making them be treated in a second-class way because she didn't agree with that policy.
Well, could I ask the Senator, is there any doubt in your mind, given testimony of other witnesses, including letters such as from the Air Force Judge Advocate General Recruiter and others, that Ms. Kagan, then Dean Kagan, did take these actions, restricting the access of recruiters to the Harvard Law School?
There's absolutely no doubt about it. She openly sent an email to all students saying she considered this policy that Congress adopted a moral injustice of the first order. On one occasion, Senator McCain, a military recruiter, was apparently working in one building, and she spoke to a protest rally outside the next door building, creating a climate, I think, that was certainly hostile to the good efforts of that military officer. And could I ask the Senator this?
Could I just follow up this? But at the same time, then Dean Kagan never asked to return the federal funds that were flowing into the university.
No. In fact, it took the president of Harvard, Larry Summers, now President Obama's chief financial economic advisor. He was then president of Harvard, and he had to reverse her decision when he was faced with the loss of federal funds. And the entire recruiting season, however, was lost before the military realized that they were systematically being blocked and protested to the university, and finally she was overruled by the president.
So then Dean Kagan's actions, which she believed, and I respect her views, that it was a moral imperative, then basically she chose what she viewed as a moral imperative, i.e. her opposition to the don't ask, don't tell law, as overriding compliance with the law, which then brings into question her qualifications and what her future actions will be as a member of the United States Supreme Court.
Absolutely. I think that's the essence of what happened. She eventually has acknowledged that at no time was the Solomon Amendment not in force at Harvard when she was there. And I know Senator McCain remembers we passed 4 versions of the Solomon Amendment because every time one was passed, these law schools or others figured out a way to get around it. We finally wrote one they couldn't get around. And this was a systematic obstruction by universities that I think does not speak well of them. And so she also filed a brief with the Supreme Court attacking the law, and as you noted earlier, the Supreme Court rejected that brief 8-0.
So we are not discussing the merits or demerits of a law that was passed by Congress. We are discussing then Dean Kagan's actions in opposition to this law, which were absolutely in contradiction to the law.
Absolutely. Harvard had agreed to follow this law. Her predecessor as dean, Dean Clark, had agreed to do so. She seized upon an opportunity without legal authority to cease to comply with that law, denied the military full access to the campus as the law required, and eventually had to be reversed by the president of Harvard. My understanding of the military, and your experience is far greater than mine, but many of these officers may well have just returned from Iraq or Afghanistan. You don't just serve all your career as a recruiter. I mean, they may have been combat officers or helicopter pilots or convoy leaders putting their lives at risk. I wonder how you think they felt when they faced this kind of discrimination.
It's frankly, I'd say to my colleague from Alabama, it obviously is not related to Dean Kagan, but the treatment at these elite institutions in the Ivy League, going all the way back to the Vietnam War, they're entitled to their views and their opinions and their opposition, but to treat people who were designated by the President of the United States to be recruiters, to motivate other young men and women to join what I believe is a very honorable profession, most honorable, and to put impediments and intentionally block their ability to do so is something that I guess they will have to answer for in the future. I'd also like to say I thank my colleague from Alabama for his leadership on this issue on the Judiciary Committee. He has worked tirelessly night and day on this issue for a long period of time now, and I want to thank the Senator from Alabama for his outstanding work and leadership. I appreciate it, and I know Americans do too.
Thank you, Senator McCain. And I would just note that one of the arguments that have been made, and my time is about up, has been that, well, nothing was really done at Harvard. We asked the Veterans Group, Veterans Organization, to take care of all these things that we were refusing to allow the military to have through the Career Services Office. And this is what the Veterans Group said at the time. And they sent an email to everybody on campus because it offended them that they were being asked to do a job that should have been done through the Career Service Office. They sent this email. Given our tiny membership, meager budget, and lack of any office space, we possess neither the time nor the resources to routinely schedule campus rooms or advertise extensively for outside organizations, as is a norm for most recruiting events. Our efforts fall short of duplicating the excellent assistance provided by the Office of Career Services. So this argument's been repeatedly made that don't worry about it, the Veterans Group was taking care of all of this, is bogus, is incorrect, and she repeated that. I'm not surprised to get that kind of statement from the White House spin doctors, but a nominee under oath
The Republican time has expired.
Should not have made the statement she did in that regard. I would yield the floor.